Yeah, welcome everybody to another live episode of Spill the Tequila here on the Outlaw Nation. It's been a couple of weeks since we did a show because of scheduling issues and things that have popped up there. So we were unable to get together for a couple weeks, but we are back here. And oh boy, we couldn't have picked a better Tuesday to come back with the spiciness. Oh. I am the Outlaw John Rocha. He is the king of swag, Winston A. Marshall. How are you, Winston?
Oh, oh, God, I don't know why I always start the show with tequila. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate tequila. Like, I can at least do vodka and lie about it, but Jesus Christ. I am swell, man. I am swell. I am back from vacation. I am wrapped on the feature I was working on. So now it's trying to, So now it's just trying to readjust, which, you know, pre-plug, I know I had told folks I would be doing a blurred breakdown today. The Diddy stuff is so deep.
It is
like it's so much, and I was gone last week that what I'm doing instead is I will be doing a kind of a large blurred breakdown Diddy or Didn't He tomorrow that you can always check out. You'll get all of my trailer reactions today, which we'll talk about the trailers in a second. But you'll get all those that'll be up essentially when we finish here. So that'll be the videos for today, and then we'll do Diddy tomorrow. No Diddy, pause. Wait, what? Oh my God. We will discuss Diddy tomorrow. Let's try that.
Slippy Diddy for sure. We're gonna talk. You talk about us. We might get to it today. You know, we line up topics, but we never know what we're gonna get to in this 90-minute show. But we hopefully will get to that if we can throughout this. There's so much going on that we're gonna talk about here, both in and out of the world of entertainment. So just letting you all know that ahead of time. We're going to tackle a lot of stuff here on the show. If you want to send in your questions to Winston and I, you can send it in through Superchats or Streamlabs. You see the Streamlabs address right above Winston's head. And you know how to do Superchats, everybody. And what else can I say? Oh, yeah, I'm preparing for eye surgery tomorrow. So it's gotten too foggy, so it's time to clear it out. And if you see me with a patch for the rest of the week doing trailer reactions or reviews or hosting shows, that's what's going on there. I've had surgery in the eye to fix it. And I don't know how I'm gonna. People say you need a week to recover, but I don't know if it means I'm going to be down and have to lay down for a week, or it just means I have to wear that thing and do drops in my eyes for a week. I don't know, but we'll see, man. It's going to be interesting tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be able to see better when I get that, so then I can get like a different set of glasses in terms of the strength. So we will see, man.
So are you gonna be Nicolas Fury?
Yeah, Nicolas Furiosa. Nicolas Furioso.
Nicolas Furioso.
¿Qué está pasando? So just a warning ahead of time for the rest
had
of the
an
week.
Idea. Bring together a group of remarkable people.
That's blood on the cards. Blood. Also is blood.
Oh my God.
Capitan. Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. But anyway, we're gonna be having some fun here on the show, talking about all the stuff going on. So send in the Streamlabs Super Chats as we go along. But yeah, let's jump in the first topic here without wasting any time, Wednesday. We got to get into. Well, actually, no. How was your trip? How's your vacation? Did you have a good time? Did you enjoy yourself? Did you get it? Put the feet up, all that kind of jazz.
It was a great time. Really needed that. I don't think I realized how badly I needed to like not be working, not worry about anything, especially because as soon as you get back, it was like, okay, you're back on set, which I had a fantastic time doing, but that's work. It was all overnights. And so it was typically a call time of like 8 p.m. right there until 6 a.m. And then it was like, okay, attempt to sleep, but then you still have other like responsibilities. Like I was dead to the world yesterday. It was horrible, man. But the vacation was fantastic. I got to spend time with my lady. It was a delayed anniversary, and now after that, like we had been holding off on like an engagement and stuff for a little bit, and we talked about it, and we're good to go. So I'm super excited about that. So now it's the planning of the engagement. I mentioned that I was going to potentially that the proposal was going to happen in Capes and Cows is like a month or so ago, but like now we're greenlit. So my main non-work hobby is planning the proposal.
That's gonna be interesting for sure. Well, I hope she says yes if you're gonna be planning it like this. So I hope she says yes.
We'll see. Thank you. I appreciate it, my man.
Well, although maybe someone's going to say yes to Winston, it looks like DC might be saying no to us, Winston, about a second season of The Penguin. This is interesting news that broke earlier today. Per Deadline, HBO has officially announced their slate of Emmy Award nominations for The Penguin. While these include the obvious picks such as Colin Farrell for Best Actor, Christina Milioti for Best Actress, and the fact that Penguin has been listed as a quote limited series rather than a quote ongoing series is what's causing fans a lot of concern. Between this and the recent spate of production issues, it seems as though HBO's Emmy nominations are also serve as a quiet confirmation that The Penguin will not be going into a second season. So, you know, we've been monitoring the situation with Matt Reeves in the Batman Part 2, and we've seen Colin Farrell be tapped to possibly be the lead in the Sergeant Rock movie. Now it seems pretty clear, Winston, that they are not going forward with this Penguin series because they are naming it as a limited series instead of an ongoing series. So are you surprised by this? What's your reaction to this? And were they trying to low-key slip this by everyone and got caught? What are your thoughts here?
I think the only thing that this really speaks to that might give a little bit of pause here is the Batman 2 in trouble, because there's been a lot of the back and forth of, you know, Matt Reeves is dealing with something personal. The script isn't locked. The script is locked. We're starting to shoot. We're not shooting. So the only thing that I am looking at with this is more of like a, but for the Batman 2. But as far as not getting a second season of The Penguin, as incredible as the show is, and it is incredible, that's fine. I don't like, I'm sure they could have come up with another story that would have been good, but I am starting to get used to and to appreciate accepting things for what they are at times, as like a one-off, or they don't do 20 seasons, they do like 2 or whatever, and enjoying something for what it is as like a singular. And I think part of that comes from, I still love my superhero stuff and all that and whatnot, but one, I like new visions. Like, if you think about some of your favorite comic runs, would they have been as special if the storyline went on forever? No, you need to move on to a new storyline, a different vision. Like, we wouldn't have gotten the Batman if Christopher Nolan wasn't only doing a trilogy, because
that's true.
Well as he did, you would have never got. So I'm actually okay with it. As far as that goes, I am just genuinely very concerned we might be effed on the Batman. That is what this does to me, is it makes me nervous about that. Is this like a, we really don't know, so let's just kind of start to call it, man, or let's start to wind things down just a little bit.
I think the writing was on the wall the second they tapped Colin Farrell to be the lead of Sergeant Rock. You don't have him be the lead in one universe and then play the villain in another universe. It just doesn't make sense. And so the second that they had him coming in and they said, okay, this is the guy. And by the way, it's been delayed now, Sergeant Rock, or possibly canceled, depending on which website you're reading. So the fact that they've got this thing listed on limited series, it tells me very clearly that ever since that, I mean, so the rumors we've been hearing for quite some time about Matt Reeves and the issues going on behind the scenes, and this idea that him and James Gunn might have friction and all of this stuff, there's now a little more smoke to that, a little more smoke and possibly fire to those points of views that things aren't quite working so well behind the scenes. Not necessarily that James Gunn and Matt Reeves hate each other, but it's very clear that James Gunn wants to be the alpha dog in the room. He is running the DC universe with Peter Safran, and everyone is clamoring for Matt Reeves, who's doing so well. You know how it is. It's like the Nation of Domination. As soon as The Rock started to outshine Farouk, it was time for Farouk to go. So Farouk is trying to make, basically James Gunn is Farouk here, trying to stop Matt Reeves from becoming The Rock. And that's what you see here. So in my opinion, that's what we're looking at. I think the Batman Part 2 is absolutely in trouble, even though they issued a statement a couple of days ago about like the script is almost done and we're ready for a 2026 shoot. It doesn't mean that Matt Reeves is going to be doing the Batman Part 2 if they even do it. And so we'll see if this leads to a little bit more of the Robert Pattinson stuff. See, the thing is, when this stuff gets exposed, the studios get embarrassed, and so they just kind of delay their announcements. And this seems to me like a kind of clandestine way of making it clear that they're moving on from the Matt Reeves universe.
And again, I'm not trying to see that, but if that's what's about to happen, then that's what's about to happen. I just what I need, because I would say similar to Westerns, superhero movies won't go away and TV shows won't go away forever, but they might float into the background.
Right.
And that's going to happen eventually. Everything comes to an end at one point or another. Hell, even though we will never live to see it, the sun will end at some point. Every single thing eventually ends, right?
Not if they finish that dome. We won't be able to see the sun at all if they finish that iron dome, their gold dome, whatever they're building. Yeah.
But my main concern is just this: is that I don't want us to end on like a bad note and go, man, we really had it good, and then it just completely ished the bed. I would like for this to be a scenario that it dies out just because we've moved on to something else, not because we start hating this. I need DC to be good and to allow stuff to continue to grow, and let's get a good Supergirl movie and Clayface and all that. I want it to do well. Like, I want Doomsday and Secret Wars to do well so that X-Men does well, and we don't need to be the 5 mega blockbusters are superhero movies. I'm cool if we get one Marvel and one DC a year, and then there's other blockbusters that we can focus on. But I just want these things to be quality. That is what I want. I would much rather a smaller amount that I get to go, holy shit, than I get 4 movies and I go, oh, Brave New World was fine. Oh, Thunderbolts was cool, but nobody went to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Fantastic Four was fine. Like, I don't want that to be what our existence is, because then that, I don't know, man. I'm sure as a fellow sports fan, you would rather have like a title every 3 to 4 years than you keep showing up to the finals and never cross the finish line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
You don't want to be Buffalo Bills.
You know, I was just going to say,
I guarantee you they would have much rather go to 3 less Super Bowls and win one of those than to go to 4 in a row and never win.
No, it's true. It's 100% true. Yeah. It's the truth. That's what you look at the situation and you go, okay, so where is this all leading to? And MK Songbird correctly pointed out that White Lotus was submitted as a limited series, but then they changed it to an ongoing series. But that's a completely different situation, isn't it? Because Mike White is not wasn't setting out to create a franchise, is not part of a massive IP franchise. He built the White Lotus out from what he created the first season. Then it's like, okay, do I have enough story to tell for a second season or a third season or a fourth season, right? That's a different situation. This is DC. With DC, it's not about like, oh, well, let's see if the creator feels like creating a second season. It's not like that. It's like if they think it should be going forward in a certain direction, by hook or by crook, they're going to keep going with a property, especially one that was revered as much as the Penguin, achieved all these awards and what have you. There certainly should be another executive producer if Lauren LaFranc doesn't want to come on, or if Matt Reeves doesn't want to do it. So the fact that they are maybe possibly signaling that they're ending it, I think is another step towards the end of the Matt Reeves verse, because I think James Gunn wants to have his own Batman, wants to be in control of everything, wants to live or die by his decisions, because he essentially co-opted the Batman franchise that had already been established before he became the head of DC, and it's kind of like that. So how much of that is right? We talk about like an owner having to deal with the head coach and the general manager because they're still under contract for one more extra year. Just like the Commanders with Ron Rivera. Josh Harris didn't want Ron Rivera to stay as coach, but he had to because of the contract. So you see that same thing here. He inherited Matt Reeves. He didn't pick Matt Reeves. So there's a difference there. And I think the approach, he wants it all to be James Gunn,
And that's, I get that. I understand. And I also understand a little bit of the confusion that we've talked about. Oh, the idea of having 2 Batmen might actually be a little more confusing. And then there've been people that push back, like, who says like it? But the truth of the matter is, you just need to think about it for a second.
Yeah.
If you're already dealing with the fatigue of superhero movies,
general
audiences we've learned media literacy is kind of going the way of the dinosaurs, and not in like a Jurassic World Rebirth way where we're just going to keep making new versions of dinosaurs. Like people legitimately don't understand things, and so I still believe, except for the people like us that are jacked in either to the movie space or jacked in specifically to comic book superhero shit, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, I thought Matt Reeves was Batman. I'm so confused right now. And I get it. There have been examples of dual actors doing stuff. I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. It's escaping me right now because I'm sure somebody in the comments will be able to be like, oh, this person, two different people were playing a character at the same time.
Go ahead. No, didn't we have the Joaquin Phoenix Joker while the Jared Leto Joker was still possibly in play?
I guess, but nothing really came out except for like the Snyder cut. And even then, the Snyder cut, if I remember, was what, 2020.
Yes,
Joker dropped in 2021.
Right. Yeah, the
Snyderverse was kind of wrapped up at that point. So I don't even know if it was that. I just don't. And it's funny. I know somebody saying, "Oh, I guess the two Quicksilvers, the Quicksilver in MCU and the Quicksilver in X-Men."
Right.
So Joker, I guess there's
just to clarify. Joker was 2019. Justice League was 2021. That's how far back we go back with that first Joker. It's 6 years ago. Yeah, I know.
Very long time. Jesus
Christ. Pre-COVID. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was pre-COVID. My brain, I guess, especially with the sequel being last year, I had assumed it was later on. I guess not. It's again, it's just one of those things where it's like, I get it. Like for I see some people that are like King Sport Cal, I'm a big fan of him and all the videos and stuff like that. And being like, he said, if you can't comprehend two Batmans, I think something is wrong with your brain. You got to remember, King Sport Cal, you're jacked into this. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about people that watch this show. Because if you're watching this show or Capes and Cows or the Christian Harloff show or Geek Buddies or anything else like that, that means you give a shit. I'm talking about the general audience member, like someone like my lady who would just be like, wait a minute. So is that Robert Pattinson Batman 2? Is that what's going on? Why does he look different? And not necessarily because she's dumb. She doesn't care. That's what I'm saying. People, the average man does not, and woman do not care like that. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. For the simplicity of just keeping stuff together, let alone if let's say Robert Pattinson Batman 2 is fantastic. And then let's say Mike Kalinowski, and I'm only using him because the first person I can think of but I'm sure he would kill it. But let's say Mike doesn't live up to Robert, and people are going, why would they do that? Why would you just use your Batman? You are already asking for trouble. You don't want to do that. Like, there's a reason why there's never been two Bonds running simultaneously around. Not a thing. So I just don't. They need to kind of get to a place of wrapping it up, or go full tilt on your Elseworld situation and truly separate those out and be like, hey, yo, you got one more in a trilogy for the Batman franchise that we're doing with Reeves, and it'll come out at this time, but they can't be too close together. That's if you're going to do that. You cannot do that too close together. And the only way you can is if we're doing Crisis, and it is way too soon to do that. It is the multiverse, this crap.
Right. Yeah. So we'll keep tabs on this. We'll see what happens, but it seems to me that we're moving towards a final announcement where they move Matt Reeves off of this stuff and then decide if Pattinson is going to be Batman. I think Pattinson doesn't give a shit if he's the Matt Reeves Batman or the James Gunn Batman. I think from that interview he gave a few weeks ago, he's like, I just want to do the Batman movie. I just want to do that sequel and go forward with that. So it may just be that they're trying to politically move Matt Reeves out of there so James can take over and try to smooth any kind of backlash over, and then they decide what they're going to do with the Batman Part 2. So it's going to be curious because, I mean, shutting down the avenue for a Penguin season 2, I don't think that's about Colin Farrell. Yeah, he didn't like putting on the makeup, but you pay Colin Farrell enough, he'll put on the fucking makeup. So it's just like that kind of situation.
I don't know. I mean, he's made plenty of money. And you gotta remember at this particular point. I mean, the thing that would do it is the awards. The awards might be a reason for him to do it.
Good point.
He's made a lot of money already.
Yeah.
Money, he'd be like, I don't necessarily need it. I'm doing it because I wanted it. Because look at Jennifer Lawrence. All of a sudden, it went from, we're putting this 8-10 hours to put on that Mystique makeup. You better just sneeze some blue on me and move on. I'm not doing this anymore. Like,
well, that's because she wasn't the lead. It wasn't called Mystique. I think if they had made the show Mystique or made the films Mystique, she might have stuck around. But I hear your point.
She kind of was the lead, though. Like, if we're gonna call a spade, like they forced it around her, even though you had Sophie Turner and Fassbender, and though they really became like the kind of co-leads of the franchise there.
Right.
They really leaned in on her for a large majority of it, because Rebecca Romaine was certainly not the centerpiece in the original X-Men movies.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Colin Farrell is worth $80 million as of 2025. He got $3 million for the Banshees of Inisherin. The rumor is that he got around $3 million to be in the Batman as well. But his highest output or highest contract, according to what I'm looking at here, was $10 million for Alexander back in 2004. So hopefully he's invested wisely. Hopefully you're right. He's got a lot of money, not to worry about it. But you never know with actors. You never know. So we'll see what happens though with Penguin. We'll see what happens.
That's how you end up making whatever that monstrosity The Weeknd put out, right? And probably run out of money.
Oh God, yeah. I can't feel my face after I watch that movie. I'll tell you that. Some of those clips, goodness gracious. All right. Well, we'll leave the Penguin alone for now. We'll keep tabs on it as we go along, as I said. But let's move on to some possible more friction, but this time in the world of sports, man. Let's get into this thing. Winston, you and I, we were first doing tequila. This was one of the first subjects that we ever tackled, was the battle, the sometimes fake, sometimes real battle between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And certainly it exploded over the weekend when Caitlin Clark, I think during the third quarter, committed a foul on Angel Reese. She fell to the ground, got up, ready to confront Caitlin, who had walked away by this point. She was held back by Alicia Boston and also by her own teammate, Camila Cardoso. But in the end, the foul was upgraded to a flagrant one, and Angel ended up missing the free throw, and we went forward from there. But the Fever whooped them pretty bad, the Chicago Sky. But this caused all kinds of drama, and apparently there were some racial things lobbed at Angel Reese that the WNBA is investigating from some of the fans there in Indiana. But then also in the punditry sphere, really, you've seen a stark divide of Cheryl Swoops coming in on the Gilbert Arenas show claiming that it was obviously a flagrant foul, saying that if the situation was reversed, they would be going after Angel, not Caitlin. And the situation with Monica McNutt talking about it as well.
What did she say? I didn't hear anything that Nutt said.
We'll play it. Maybe we'll get in trouble for it, but we'll play it. The other thing is the Ryan Clark and RG3 are apparently in a blood feud over this whole situation.
Not a blood feud.
I mean, it feels like a cultural blood feud. But you tell me, brother, what'd you think of the foul? What do you think of Angel's reaction? And then what do you think of how these pundits have been chiming in on this, from Dave Portnoy to Jamel Hill to Keith Olbermann, of all people, weighing in on this? Skip weighed in on it. Not Skip. Oh God, who I forget. Fox News, Fox Sports. In the morning.
Cowherd.
Yes, Colin Cowherd weighing in on it, and even Nick Wright weighing in on this thing. So your thoughts here, man?
I mean, here's the thing. Yeah. What I've found about all of this is, as a legitimate W fan, I'm so tired. I was so excited about the start of the season, and now I'm just pissed off.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is it has nothing to do with Angel and Caitlin.
Okay.
It is all of us. We are the problem. The call is coming from inside the house because everybody has decided to make this a continuous culture war thing all the time. Now, that being said, some stuff needs to be called out. The way that people talk about Angel still is incredibly disgusting. And it's not the way that we talk about, say, a Draymond, who you might make a comparison to as somebody that Draymond plays dirty though, or a dirtier type of player, quote unquote, and all that stuff. And people might call him classless, but nobody's out here calling him, excuse me, like a raging cunt. Like nobody's, you know what I'm saying? Nobody is talking about how ugly he is. Nobody's going on and on about all this stuff. And yet the things we say about Angel Reese are insane. And the funny thing is, again, looking at the play, it was a flagrant one play. There was a follow-through push to the ground. I understand that she was defending her player and is upset about the lack of a foul call. But even with it being a flagrant one, I'm not out here being like, oh man, like what a terrible, horrible person Caitlin Clark is. But it's not lost on me that that type of play, again, if Angel had done it, they would have been calling her even more stuff out of her name. But they don't ever reserve that for Caitlin. Caitlin somehow gets a pass. So I just, the only thing that I'm saying about all that is there is definitely something to be said about how the two of them are talked about, how one can do literally no wrong. And yet we saw a number of examples last season where Caitlin was giving it to people the same way she was getting it. And yet they want to protect her like the lily white angel, and blah, blah, blah. But instead of just being like, hey, they're just ballers and they're throwing bows. They're getting in there. They're mixing it up. Instead of just letting them play and understanding that it people can throw down. It is what it is. Now, I'm gonna let you go, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, go. Yeah, finish your points. For
me, the big problem was looking at I really cannot stand RG3 and how he handled this whole thing.
Okay.
I think part of it, and what people don't realize, I learned a lesson pretty early on in college. I wrote this play. I promise this will have a point in a second. I wrote this play that was about like my family, and it was about my dad dating someone that was younger than my two oldest siblings. So he was dating somebody that was around that age, and there were a lot of things that she said and did that were awful. And I pretty much wrote her exactly. Some of the stuff was verbatim quotes, but I had my professor be like, "You can't do this," and I was like, "Why?" And she goes, you're because of the platform that you have and what you're doing with this play, you are saying some pretty awful things about women via this character. And I was like, well, I'm quoting her in a lot of ways. She goes, sure, but you have to understand your art to that point has a certain level of responsibility that will be said one way or the other. So it doesn't mean that you need to go make this person an angel. She clearly was not a good person. But she is human. So you need to make her more human. You do not see the rose-colored glasses that you have on that is kind of making stuff go this way. So I say that to say about RG3, the way that he presented all of his arguments about Angel, he opened up a set of floodgates for more races to get their racist shit off. And it didn't help that the optics of having his white wife behind him kind of just like casually eating while he's shitting on this black woman one way or the other. Is she a part of your show? I don't watch his show, but to my knowledge, she's not. Why is she in that particular shot? It doesn't make sense. So Ryan calling that out and being like, you need to understand the optics of what you said. You can still make comments about her as a basketball player and things like that. But the optics of the way you did that is you, again, opened up the floodgates and you made it seem like you're Samuel L. Jackson and Django. And you just you look like a Jason Whitlock right now, where you're like, hey, white man, pay attention to me. And if anything, the funny thing about it is looking back at Rob Parker's comments from all those years ago when Robert first got drafted and he wanted to call him a cornball, and people are like, you can't say that, you son of a bitch. Everybody's like, damn, was Rob Parker kind of right? Are we just late to the party? Like, there's just a lot kind of going on there. And that is more what I'm focused on. We are the problem. Let them play one way or the other. We are the problem in the way that we talk about this stuff.
All right. So
he's ready.
You and we don't agree about this situation, and we probably will but we do concede certain points to each other when we make observations on it all.
Yes.
I thought it was a legitimate, obviously it's a legitimate foul. I thought she was going for the ball. I do think Angel did the whole Joel Embiid, Draymond Green flop to get the effect from the refs. When she jumped up, though, man, that was an interesting situation. She had a fist cocked, and Aaliyah had to stop her, and then Cardoza come over and pulled her away. And then she went to the bench and had 2 other people try to stop her as she tried to come at Caitlyn again. And the thing is, this is an Angel Reese who whacked Caitlyn across the head from behind last year in a flagrant foul. And Caitlyn did not jump up and want to get up in her face. And Angel walked away just like Caitlyn walked away from the situation. And then today, Angel Reese shared a TikTok video someone made about this thing on her own TikTok, and which the girl said, "This white girl ain't trying to get no smoke from me." It's to that element. So the fact that she's posting this on TikTok,
Angel posted something about.
No, someone posted on TikTok. Angel reshared it on her TikTok, like essentially liking it. And so essentially she is condoning the message within the video. And that's the problem I have here. There's unfaithful interpretation of Angel Reese going from some people who are invested in turning her into this kind of, for lack of a better term, angel. She's not. She's a person who wants to play on both sides of the fence. She wants to be able to be this hard ass and nobody be messing with me and all of this shit. But then when she gets into trouble for her actions, it's I'm the victim and why are people coming? I'm going to cry at a press conference, and you can't have it both ways. You just can't. If you're going to share a TikTok video, which is essentially calling Caitlin Clark a coward for not confronting you afterwards, but then be like, well, I don't like getting comments from people about. You can't keep poking the bear and then playing innocent and dropping the stick. And all of these people coming in going like, well, what's really going on here is the bear was looking at her wrong. And it's like, come on, there's 2 things there's things you have to look at and be honest in this assessment. I do agree that people take these things between Angel and Caitlyn and they run with them and do their own. They essentially use these 2 women for their own political purposes. Jason Whitlock, absolutely. I think Dave Portnoy to a degree as well. I'm not sure why Keith Olbermann was weighing in on this at all. He should stay out of something like this. But there is clearly some animosity here from Angel towards Caitlyn. In my opinion, there isn't, and you don't see it from Caitlyn towards Angel. She doesn't do anything to Angel. She doesn't try to call her out. She doesn't share videos of people hating on Angel Reese. She does none of that. Now, do I think she's a competitive person and she gets in people's faces or yells? Absolutely. If Angel did that, I'd have no problem with it. It's just the extra stuff that comes along, and then her playing victim and innocent about it is where I get frustrated. And people who support that point of view, people who I guess support that point of view or amplify that point of view, I think are off base. She's a competitor. She's hungry, but I also think at times she's emotionally immature. And so she will act a certain way and then want everyone to protect her and play the victim when it's convenient. It's not really fair to the whole situation. Now, I don't think Caitlyn is Caitlyn is a competitor. Caitlyn gets in people's faces, and calling her out on that is absolutely fair game as well. I want to be fair on this, but I do think we're painting narratives that are not 100% truthful about the situation from both of the ladies involved in the situation. I also think Ryan Clark saying that RG3 can't chime in because his wife is white is some bullshit. I think that's bullshit, because you have a right to your opinion as a black man, whether you're married to a tree, a white woman, a black woman, an Asian woman, a Latina woman. You have a right to your opinion. Yeah, I'm just throwing things out there. I don't know what you're married to anything, and you have a right to offer your opinion. And Ryan coming in and look, RG3 was right to say to Ryan, like, don't talk about my wife, my family. That's a fair point, because Ryan is doing the exact same shit that he is claiming RG3 did. Was he is making a judgment on RG3 based on the fact of that he has a white wife. Whereas Ryan is out here trying to say you shouldn't judge Caitlyn or Angel by her facial looks on her face, by her emotions. You shouldn't judge Angel like that. And it's like, well, you can't have cake and eat it too. You got to be consistent.
I mean,
sorry, that was my 2 cents.
Okay. Yeah. No. That's what we're doing. We're doing the back and forth. So that's a couple of things. I didn't know that she had shared some video calling her a scared white girl or anything else like that.
Yeah.
That's really stupid. And I'm not going to sit here and say that there isn't behaviors that Angel has put forth that aren't like, dude, what are you doing? So like, even to that point, it doesn't help for her to, like, for example, she had on like, what's her name? Travis Kelce's ex. Just let her run off the
yeah,
mouth about Taylor Swift and Travis and all that nonsense and whatnot. There are things that she's done that I definitely have been like, come on. In the same way that I look at Draymond and be like, dude, what are you doing?
Draymond should be out of the NBA. I want to make it clear. I hate Draymond Green as a player, and he should be kicked out of the NBA. He is what he does to those in what he does. I think is that insults the game. The things that he tries to pull on the court and then trying to hide behind it. They're trying to paint me as an angry black man. Bullshit. If a white guy was doing that, we'd want him out of the league as well. It's nonsense.
I mean, if you're gonna harp all that up, then it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? But all that being said, first of all, what Ryan Clark said about RG3's wife, he didn't call her out of her name. He didn't say anything besmirching about her. What he said specifically was, for you to speak on black women and what they're going through in this regard when you're literally, your wife is not black, and therefore there are certain conversations about black women that she cannot have because she is not a black woman. That there's nothing about that is incorrect. And anybody, to me, I think it'd be the same way that it's like,
but wait, are you telling me that RG3 doesn't have black women in his life? He doesn't have aunts. He doesn't have mom. He doesn't have.
I'm not saying that he isn't.
Black.
I'm not saying that he doesn't, and I'm not saying that he isn't having those conversations.
That he couldn't speak on it because he doesn't have a black wife, and I think that's bullshit. There's plenty of black women in RG3's life, I would imagine.
I get that, but it is this idea of, he's not going to bed at night with these aunties or anybody else. That's who he's having his late night conversation. On top of the fact that that's not who RG3 had in the background of his video while he speaks on black women. Like you see kind of where
that's bad optics.
That is more what I'm talking about. And the other thing that people brought up that was weird about it is the fact that he has made a lot of really goofy, kind of weird, a little off-putting, constant jokes about how much he loves his wife's skin and like, oh, look, we milking cookies. Look at my milk this, my milk that. Like, made that joke a lot to the point where it's uncomfortable. And again, we're not looking at one individual instance here. We're looking at a pattern of behavior tied together to kind of comment on that. That is why Ryan went there, is talking specifically about the fact that, like, there is literally nothing wrong. Like my future wife is white. I understand that. But like, if I'm having conversations with black women, I'm talking to my mom or my sister or what that. If I were going to have a moment on this show where we were doing that, I wouldn't have Kristen sitting in the background. I don't disagree with you. You see what I'm saying? So there is this weird thing that he was doing. And for somebody that has made it his business to be a media personality, it's the same thing I said about Jeff when we were talking about Sinners. If you have your business to talk about stuff, then you need to be very careful about the words you choose, the actions you portray, the images you put up. They're all important. And when you consider the world that we're in right now, where there is a war on anything of color in media and anything that NDI this, NDI that, in what world is that then you can just fly off the cuff about stuff? We're not in a world where nuance exists anymore. So you need to be incredibly careful on how you present things. So could Ryan have chosen some of his words even better? Yeah, I will take, but there is something to be said just about how the closest woman in his life like that, and to have her right here. That is what made it weird. If she wasn't there and you brought up his wife for no reason, that's a little weird. But that was a part of the aesthetic of his background of his video. That is what I mean. Like, whereas, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that.
No, I don't disagree with you. I 100% agree. The optics of it all. But look, but I think it's because, listen, I've only ever dated one Latina in my life. Does that mean I'm not allowed to speak on Latino issues? Like, just because the women I've dated are white for the most part, and then some I've dated Filipina, dated Latina. My girlfriend now is Native American. Like, am I not allowed to speak on these things with the Latino community? But I agree with you. I would not have done a video with any of them in the background because to speak about Latino issues, because it does imply a certain thing, even if you don't intend for it to imply a certain thing. It does imply a certain thing. So I understand why Ryan would bring it up. I just thought it was poor form.
The other thing you have to keep in mind, though, and this was the kind of the other thought process here. What are some of the negative stereotypes that get thrown around about Latinas? Like, I'm not. This is not a trap, but I'm just.
I'm not saying a thing. You go ahead. Yeah, I'm not going to say a thing.
The general stereotype is similar to a lot of the stuff that gets said about Black women. That they're loud, that they're aggressive, that you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So to that point, it feels weird because she's over here just sipping tea while he's doing you would if you were talking about, say, this was happening with Camila Cardoso, Cardoso. I can't. I always.
Cardoso,
if it was between Camila and Caitlyn and all that kind of stuff, and it would read bad as well. You would want a situation where you would have somebody that could really speak on it. And so you obviously have your point of view, having been raised by Latino women and having cousins and siblings and all that kind of stuff, right? I get that, but you would want somebody that is that to speak on it as it is. It doesn't mean you cannot have your own opinion. Of course you can. It doesn't mean you can't speak on it. But again, that is the issue, is the vitriol at which he kind of came, or we'll call it the passion. I won't go vitriol. We'll say the passion at which he went with it, with the imagery that was going on like that, knowing what people are already saying. Those are all the things that are not being taken into consideration when that's happening. Again, I'm not trying to go at Jeff again, but the conversation about sinners and stuff like that, part of that is, again, knowing the scenario of the stuff that's being said one way or the other, how certain things might be perceived, how certain words can be dog whistle type stuff. You can have beef with a scenario, but give clear, concise facts and don't stir the pot. RG3 was stirring the pot, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I think he had a right to, give his interpretation, because that's what analysts do, right? He has a right to think that Angel might be mad or might be angry at Caitlyn, because honestly, she also jumped off the bench when Kennedy Carter absolutely sideswiped Caitlyn as she was just standing waiting for the ball. It was Angel jumping off the bench and clapping like crazy last season.
That is trashy behavior.
But that's what I'm saying. So this idea of trying to protect her as some kind of victim here, I think, is nonsense. But, and that's why this is such a complicated thing, because I do think Angel is a complicated person. I think Angel wants to be seen a certain way by the media, and when she gets called out for her action, she runs behind victimhood, and I don't think that's strong. And other pundits who want to uplift that, like Mona McNutt did, and others here, I guess I'll find it and we could listen to it, I think is also unfair, because remember, Monica is the one who also said that the only reason people are paying attention, she essentially said the Dennis Rodman thing about Larry Bird about Caitlyn. The only reason people are paying, if she was white, or if she wasn't white, they wouldn't care too much about her. And so how can I trust her to be impartial about this whole situation? You know what I'm saying? So this is where I get frustrated on the whole thing with them, because there are people who are trying to claim that there's racist points of views being put out on Angel Reese, yet Black pundits and Black analysts can say the only reason people like Caitlyn is because she's white, or a big reason why she's successful or popular is because she's white, which denigrates her talent. You're essentially doing racism, just in a different format, because you're saying the only reason people care about her is because she's white. And I think that's unfair. And look, you know me, I will fight against racism all the time. Like in the Sinners video, I push back on Jeff the entire time. But I also think in certain situations, you've got to be clear that you can denigrate a person's accomplishments if you bring up their race, no matter what color they are. And I think that's unfair, you know?
I get that. I guess the part about it, though, that's interesting is from the standpoint of Angel Wilson is doing currently more than what Caitlyn is doing, but Angel Wilson is not getting that same level of respect or attention or anything else like that. So I get what you're saying, but let's call a spade a spade. There is truth to, there is something about this white girl who shoots like Steph Curry, can throw dimes like magic, that they want to go, get her. And to our knowledge, is like she has a boyfriend. I don't know if it's a fiance now or anything like that, but it's straight as well. And there's also something about calling all of the homophobia that has happened as well. So like there is definitely something to the fact that she is straight and white. Let's not pretend like that isn't a factor of her appeal.
I do think, yes, I'm sure I think there's a small percentage of people who cheer her on because she's white or straight or both, right? But I think to dismiss a majority of the fandom as being only led by that, I think is incorrect. I mean, I didn't know what she was when I started watching her 2 years ago, and I was just impressed by everything. And listen, again, I've seen Diana Taurasi, I've seen Sue Bird, I'll go all the way back to Rebecca Lobo. That was the first female basketball player that I watched growing up, and I was just amazed at their talents. With Cheryl Swoops, I mean, the entire crew there that won Houston so many championships in the WNBA the first few seasons. Like, I followed all them. Team USA, there's that great documentary on ESPN for people to watch.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was just her incredible level of talent. And she had that extra thing that stood out. And you're right. I never felt that way about Asia. And even now, I don't feel the need to like trumpet Asia to the sky because she doesn't affect me in the same way. But when Shamika Holsclaw was doing it, I was all over it. Like, I loved what she was doing. And Swoops as well, which is why it's heartbreaking to see Swoops very clearly has, I think, in my opinion, has a bias towards Caitlyn. And so these are these things where you look at.
Absolutely.
Again, it's complicated. Yeah. I'm just finish real quick, but it's also complicated, Winston, because I get why black women are upset at her. I get it, especially black athletes, like black female athletes. We built the foundation that you are jumping up and getting celebrated, and I get it. There's an anger, there's a frustration there. But by the same token, Caitlyn has been nothing but respectful to the black female players who came before her, the current black female players she plays with. She is respectful. She speaks, she talks about them. She uplifts. She's always saying that. I don't think she's ever put a foot wrong in that arena. Even with the investigation, she came out yesterday and said, absolutely investigate this. We don't need this in the house. We don't need these kinds of fans at Indiana Fever games. So it's clear that she understands the situation. And so, I think the fact they're trying to villainize someone who isn't a villain.
Well, but the fact that she's speaking out more now is huge because she was very silent last year with two exceptions.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So that was part of what this is as well. If what you're saying is you're in the sisterhood of ball, and this is what's kind of going on.
Yeah,
that's kind of wild to just let it happen in your name. And we talked about that for a while last year too. But the fact that she's actively speaking out against it, that's great. I'm very happy to hear that. I think the main thing that we need above all else is, again, just like anything else in this country, unfortunately, everybody has rose-colored glasses on at this point. And the idea is that my perspective is the only one that's important.
I think tribal glasses. I think you're absolutely right on that, in that approach. Like, only my point of view is correct.
The reason I was using rose-colored glasses, they use that to say when you wear rose-colored glasses, you can't see red flags. And so that's what I'm saying, is that you literally do not understand or see the shit outside of what you want to see. And I have always been able to say, yeah, Caitlyn's hella good. But one of another just example of what RG3 did that was just kind of out of pocket and ridiculous. He goes, yeah, man. I mean, look, Caitlin Clark is Michael Jordan. And I'm like, that is incredibly disrespectful. If you want to say that she has got the kind of popularity that Michael Jordan brought to the game, that's a completely different statement. To call her Michael Jordan when she's played one season.
Yeah. That's fair.
Led the league in turnovers, and Asia Wilson had another record-setting year. I can't remember if she had the most points in history of the league or some shit like that, or there was something that she did. She had 1,000 points in a season, which hadn't happened yet, or something like that. There was a number of things that were going on in the league that were monumental. And that is the other part where you see a lot of W fans or fans of anybody in the league not named Caitlin Clark get frustrated. It's like, bro, I've been a diehard Breanna Stewart fan for forever, bro. She's been balling. She just won a chip, and ain't nobody talking about her. They're not here to watch the W. They're here to watch Caitlin. And that's okay, because Caitlin is the show. You know what I'm saying? She has proven to be the star attraction. But when I would watch, the fans that I see watch Steph Curry, when he started blowing up like that, it didn't just go, cool, if Steph's not on, I'm not watching that. All of a sudden they're like, hey, yo, man, that Dame Lillard, he pretty good. He can shoot too. I'm gonna watch some of that. Hey, man, that LeBron, he pretty good. I'm gonna watch that too. That's not happening. And so it's this other weird thing that, not to go deep dive into any of the trans athlete stuff or anything like that. It's this idea of, we care about women's sports. No, you don't. You were using this as as a standpoint to just shout the thing you want to shout. You do not care about women's sports, or you would not be talking, even if Angel is playing the bad guy and is a bad person or whatever, you would not be talking about her that way and just disrespect a lot of these women in the league like that. You wouldn't be doing it. You clearly do not care. And that is where I think people get frustrated, is this idea that they just want to say, you're just trying to be mean to Caitlyn, and yet they don't want to acknowledge the bullshit that's happening at the same time.
They just want, they want to parachute in and parachute out, right? And I absolutely hear what you're saying. And I know Oberman was a sports guy for a very long time, obviously on SportsCenter or whatever, but like he is a lifestyle commentator now, basically social lifestyle commentator on things that are going on in our world, right? And it is not necessarily on him to be swooping in to comment on this and swooping back out. You know, Colin Cowherd, of course, yes. Nick Wright, of course, yes. But like Ryan Clark, even because of the podcast and how well it's done and everything like that, absolutely. Gilbert Arenas and Cheryl Swoops, yes, absolutely, sure. But like, I hear what you're saying. Other people parachuting in to get social points to play to their base, and then parachuting out is not really a helpful thing to look at with this situation. I just want us to get, like, honestly, strip everything away. I want us to be able to get back to a place where we're judging these players by who they are as players, right? The thing that frustrates me is that everyone, anytime anybody, either Angel does something or Caitlyn does something, it's immediately either Angel is the villain, Caitlyn is the angel, or Angel is the angel and Caitlyn is the villain. And it's so frustrating when you see this, and it's happening on both sides. You know, white pundits come for Angel because they don't like the way she does things, and I get it. And then black pundits come for Caitlyn because they claim that she's only being elevated because she's white, or the only reason people talk about her because she's white, which denies the fact that she just has this thing that you can't explain. Everybody who's at that level has this thing that you can't explain. There were plenty of better singers than Elvis Presley, but for some fucking reason, there are plenty of bands who are musically more talented than the Beatles, but for some reason, the Beatles are here. Michael Jackson. There was something about Michael Jackson. There were plenty of other dancers and singers, blah, blah, blah. Michael Jackson, just something about the ones that have that it thing that elevates them to transcendent levels. And I just think you can't explain that. You really can't explain that, you know?
The other thing, I agree with you. I think the best example, if you want to make a one-to-one comparison of who Caitlyn Clark is, she's Eminem. But Eminem would actually at least admit he has a number of songs where he goes, I am aware that because I am white in a predominantly black space, but I also have the talent. That is why I sell the way that I sell. He says that in so many songs where he's like, I had to be good. I had to be better than everybody to even get attention. But the reason why white America all of a sudden is paying attention to hip hop is because they've never seen someone that the whole song White America is about.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing here. Let's be really real. Because people wanted to get mad about like, oh, you know, Caitlyn being pretty too, which in someone was like, in that case, you're sideswiping at some of the white players that have played before and calling them ugly. But like,
that's ridiculous.
Right. But let's be real that Caitlyn is an attractive young lady, and that there have been plenty of athletes, male or female, that maybe aren't as attractive. There's something also with her being good looking. Like Jamie Garoppolo is not anywhere near the level of like some of the top people in the league. But how many times did he get talked about? Be like, man, he balled that game. And he's not bad to look at. They talk about Jalen Hurts like that right now. They're like, damn, he won a chip. And that man could be a model. Be a model with me, baby. Like it is something. There is something to be said about attractiveness, about where you come from. We talked about Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin, it was the flash of the pan where he was out here in these streets balling. But it was also people like, we ain't never seen an Asian dude do this before. What is happening? You know what I'm saying? So there is something to it. It is not the sole reason that she's cooking. Let's get it real. She's talented as shit.
Right. It isn't like they're propping Caitlyn up and she's not stepping up to I mean, she had triple-double in this game. She was amazing in this game. So it's like, and I think there's this thing it's a very complicated situation, because I also think Angel has been profiting off her connection to Caitlyn, because no one else has this kind of connection to Caitlyn. And she brings guests onto her podcast to bash Caitlyn Clark on her podcast. So like,
that's a problem.
This is the thing where I look at, like, she's trying to claim, like, why won't people stop asking me about Caitlyn? Yet she is quite happy to weigh in and have opinions about Caitlyn and drag attention to herself about Caitlyn. So she's using and then playing victim. And I think this is where the calling out needs to happen. That's what I'm saying. I think we should be able to call out Caitlyn and Angel Reese legitimately without every accusation being, oh, you're only saying that because you're racist. Whether you're racist towards Angel or racist towards Caitlyn. And that's what's frustrating. We can't just have a sports conversation because I don't remember this. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember this. I was 10, 12 years old when Magic and Larry were going at it. I mean, it was the white guy versus the black guy. Yes, but I don't know. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was that white people gravitated to Larry because they hated Magic. But Magic was he was always smiling at Magic. I can't imagine that he offended a lot of white people in this country. So I don't know. It's weird. I don't remember I know that was an element of it, but I don't remember it being like this. Like this is anytime they tangle, it's race. You know what I'm saying? It's never just a tangle. And by the way, she's been fouled by many black players. She has fouled many female black players, but it is this foul that causes the issue.
It's literally because it was open. It was opening weekend. It was against quote unquote her biggest rival. It was quote against. Unquote, that's why I said it, and it was in Indiana. So you only would further fuel the fame, the flames. If it had happened in Chicago, there would have been certainly a loud amount of booing for the thing, but it would have just hit very differently. You know what I'm saying? Happening in Indiana. And the only thing that kind of pisses me off about it, I'll be honest, that Caitlyn did, it's not necessarily the flagrant foul. She's right. Stop the easy layup. That's actually a good IQ basketball play. But to act like, especially when you see the replay, whether she meant to do it or not, she did put some extra oomph on the back end. If she was just trying to rip her hand free, that's fine. But it's still played out. So when they said flagrant run, what? And I'm like, come on, dude. Come on. Now you look like every soccer player that's like, oh, why would you card me? You would never card me. I just kicked her in the shin. Why would you card me? That's crazy. That's insane. That's the stuff sometimes people get mad with Caitlyn. They're like, stop acting like you're not in there mixing it up too, girl. You were out here throwing bows too. Like,
you might be right there. You might be right there. I do think it's a different body type. Like Caitlyn's not going to be able to push Angel down without some extra force. And so there's a different in terms of the Angel is a strong woman, and that's not easy.
I get it. But you know what would have not been flagrant? If she had ripped out, if it had been that she was truly going for the ball and pulled this way, instead she went this way. And so
she tried to stop her getting up with the ball at all. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I still think she was going for the ball. You can argue that, but I hear what you're saying. Her walking away from the scrum, I don't think that's a negative. You don't want to agitate the situation. She was smart because if it gets all, something happens, what if Angel had thrown a punch? And I don't think she would have. I think her being restrained was on purpose. Like I'm going to get angry because people are restraining me. If she had actually had to win a beeline, she could have been suspended for 20 games or something if she had thrown a punch at Caitlyn. Like, would not have been good.
Absolutely. Yeah. And last thing, and we should move on because we spent like 40 minutes on this.
Yeah. We should. Yeah,
sorry. Jeremiah Wise, you can go and watch the beginning of this. I don't know if you're watching it. We already talked about this. Yes. Angel committed a foul beforehand.
Yes, she did. She shoved.
And if you're getting your teammates back in a certain way, that's also fine too. But understand, in most things in life, I may not have seen a fist thrown, the person that threw the first fist. I saw the person retaliate. And how many times in life does the person that retaliate is the one that gets in trouble? Every black person and Latino person, I'm sure a lot of white people in here too, knows that or a lot of our parents said, don't let nobody put hands on you. Don't let anybody bully you. If they start something, finish it. But we've also been told, understand, it is never the bully that started it that people go, oh man, they go, yo, why did Rocha flip out and just throw hands with Dan Merle? Why would you do that? And it's like, because Dan called him a slur and tickled his chin. And then all of a sudden he's like, fuck you. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? So yes, I've acknowledged that Angel fouled first, very much so, but that does not negate what Caitlyn then did in response.
Right. All right. Well, there you go. That's what we had to get we knew it was going to be a long one. We're almost at the hour mark. Thanks to everybody who sent in super chats. We'll get to them in just a little bit. If you have more questions, send them in before we get to this next section here of the show. What else have we got to? Because we're running out of time, so we might as well just talk. Okay, so how about these trailers, Winston? We had a trailer for Welcome to Derry. We had a final trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth. We had a teaser trailer for Zootopia, and then we had the season 4 trailer for The Bear that came out as well. Which one stood out to you? Which one do you want to talk about? Which one did you like?
What did I like? I mean, I like The Bear. I'm behind on season 3. I've only gone halfway through. I need to finish it, so I'm glad that I didn't see any spoilers there.
Okay.
And it'll be good. I just need them to stop calling it a comedy. It's not. It's a drama with comedic elements. Let's be real. You're doing that because you want to try and keep sweeping awards and you know, get your bag, but also come on. I stand by. I don't know why these Jurassic movies keep happening, but then I started to think about, you know what? How many times is like, as just humans, we keep making the same stupid and worse mistakes. Like, I'm going to need to find out we get in that movie. The thing they're extracting from that egg is like, if we have this DNA, we can put the dinosaurs down for good, and then they can't haunt and kill us in our cities anymore. It better be a plague for the dinosaurs because of something like that. Because otherwise, why are you still experimenting with dinosaurs? What is wrong with you?
Right. We can make better movies with this.
I don't watch horror stuff. I still haven't seen these It movies, but I watched the trailer, and I was the whole time I was like, So there's that. And then the last one, Zootopia 2. I actually really enjoyed that teaser, and I love the fact that it didn't show me anything. It just showed me that we're going to be going just not a city. We're going to see the whole Zootopia world, and that's cool.
Yeah.
I need more teasers and more trailers to stop giving the movie away and just give me an idea of what I'm going to be dealing with, and that's it. I really like that approach.
You're not wrong, brother, man. You're not wrong. Yeah, I feel the same way. I liked the Jurassic World. It was the best Jurassic World trailer I'd seen so far for Jurassic World Rebirth because it leaned into the horror side of things. So I kind of like that as opposed to the other stuff of like, oh, the majesty and wonder of dinosaurs. We've had 6 fucking movies like that. We're good. Let's get to something new. And turning it into a little bit like Jaws out in the water, a little bit like the original Jurassic Park, where you're being chased by this T-Rex. You're seeing that family. What's that family doing there? Are they a bunch of adventure influencers who thought they could paddle into that area and take some videos and photos and get on out of there? Why are they there? So there's questions there, but also clearly seeing there's more action in the movie than maybe we've seen in other Jurassic World movies. So that gets me excited when you look at it. Yeah, Zootopia 2 was fine with the energy and the vibe of that. I'm glad that's coming back. I forgot that movie made as much money as it did. Jesus.
It made a lot of movie. It made a lot of money.
Made a lot of money. I was surprised.
It was just shy of $1 billion, right? It was like 800 something.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. I didn't think it was that revered of a movie. So the Welcome to Derry was good, but it was kind of a mild teaser because you didn't really see too many scary things in there. There's a couple things. So it was more about establishing the world and a little more of the story. So I think with the next trailer, I'm sure we're going to see some jump scare moments. And then the Bear trailer was great. I mean,
I was wrong. Zootopia was 1.023 billion worldwide.
So it made $1 billion.
Yeah, it did. It made 341 here in the States and 682 internationally, bro. No wonder they said, give us another one.
Jesus. I'd like to make $1 billion movie. Just one. I'm not asking for much. Just one. Let me have 10% on the back end. Let me have 10 points on the back end, for God's sakes. I thought this was a good slate of trailers for today. I had smoke coming out of my machine from all the stuff we were looking at in there. But yeah, good slate of stuff coming down the road. So we'll be excited to see what. And Jurassic World's like, 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away? It's not that far away. It's crazy, man. So, yeah. All right, one last thing. Should we get into this thing? I don't know. Should we just get some questions? All right. Do you want to get into the Trump thing and Bruce Springsteen and Beyonce? Should we get into that?
Go ahead.
I don't know. We'll get it real quick. So apparently the president of our United States is a little upset at Bruce Springsteen, who called him out on his concerts there in London. By the way, Bruce has not done a show in America since before the election. So that's how long he's been in Europe.
Quick thing. Did you know? I didn't know this. Bad Bunny canceled all of his U.S. tours because he didn't want to put any of his fans at risk. So he's playing everywhere else around the world but the States. That is incredible.
Yeah. He doesn't want them to get deported. He doesn't want his concerts to be used as ICE deporting grounds. Yeah. It's also why I don't travel. I was supposed to go to a wedding in France. I canceled the wedding. I'm not going because I'm the son of immigrants. I don't know what they're going to pull. And so you try to stay out of all of that stuff. So I'm just trying to stay here in my little home, and hopefully no one comes after me. But yeah, it's crazy when you see this thing. But because Bruce Springsteen he spoke out about Trump and about his administration, and then Trump said he better keep his quote mouth shut, and that we'll see how it goes for him once he gets back to the United States. And now he's talking about suing him and Beyonce and Oprah for apparently being a part of promoting Kamala Harris. He wants to go after Jimmy Kimmel for telling jokes about him on late night. He's already got the head of CBS News to step down because of a $30 to $50 million lawsuit that he's leveraging against CBS because Sherry Redstone, who's a coward and a half, wants to sell Paramount to Skydance, so she doesn't want to ruin anything. So she's been killing all the DEI, capitulating to Trump left and right, and it's fucking madness to see this. But
really sad
craziness, man. Aren't we America? Aren't we allowed to express our points of views in this country? What's the deal here, Winston?
What's sad to me is instead of focusing on actually trying to fix the country, he's a toddler that's like, and then they were mean to me. I'm gonna get him now. I'm gonna get him. Like, dude, like, you know what didn't happen? Bush wasn't out here being like, hey, this is kind of whack. How come none of these, like, I love Christina Aguilera. I don't know Christina Aguilera didn't endorse anybody. I love Christina Aguilera. She didn't endorse me. I hate her. I'm gonna get her in trouble. I'm gonna sue her. Like, he's a child.
Yeah.
This is a child. And whether it's because this is always who he is and the ego is that fragile, or he has gone into his own state of full-blown dementia.
Yeah.
This is pathetic. It is so incredibly sad. Why don't you worry about trying to alleviate some of the quote unquote pain that people are going to have to go through with the economy instead of worrying about suing celebrity? Who the cares? You won. That's the other thing that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You won and you're still bitching. Jesus Christ.
When they say sore, I've never seen a sore winner. That's not the phrase, right? The phrase is he's a sore loser. This is a sore winner. A lot of the MAGA people are sore winners. It wasn't enough that they won. They wanted everyone to just bow down to them, and that's not the way this is going to go. And we see this representative now who was at that ICE facility. She has been charged with crimes that Trump pardoned the J6 rioters of doing. It's a really confusing, unsettling rather, more than confusing situation that we're living in now. And the fact that Bruce Springsteen can't say what like the Dixie Chicks went after George Bush, right? The George W. Bush, and the entire country music community went against them, right? And so they became the Chicks. So you let things happen. George W. Bush didn't go like, well, I'm going to get them for playing for whatever my political opponents. It's madness. It's all revenge. It's all retribution. And I swear to God, we're going to be a lesser country for it. And it needs to stop, for God's sakes, because it's all intimidation to keep people from speaking out. If you study history, you know what happens to people who try to stop free people from speaking out. It ain't a pretty ending. So to me, it's like, I don't understand why you would court this, you know?
It's bad all around. You got to remember, not only that, like, you had situations where, like, Hassan Piker was stopped. You know, he's an American citizen, was born here. He was stopped at the border and detained because he happens to be a pundit that constantly speaks out against Trump on his platform. Like, that we are watching. Like, I know people are like, "Oh, you keep talking about fascism." Like, you were watching a dictator flex muscles that dictators do. Like, Xi Jinping or whatever, I can't pronounce his name, the president of China. People get super mad when he gets mad when people call him Winnie the Pooh or compare him to Winnie the Pooh, and he throws them in jail.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? If you say anything against Kim Jong-un, he'll kill you. You say anything about Putin and you're within his jurisdiction, he'll kill you. That is the direction that this dude, he has talked about how he has respect for and models a lot of the stuff he does after these folks. So the fact that we are watching him do this now, we are that is when people say we're taking the slow march toward fascism, is because we're letting him get away with this nonsense. You got to cut this shit off before it's too late, before now the wave is too big to stop.
And that's what he's doing, all this stuff, the jet, everything, and it's just because it becomes too much. And even Supreme Court took off the restrictions on some of the Venezuelans they're trying to deport. So like even the Supreme Court's not stopping him. So it's just becoming you start to wonder what the end result of all of this is going to be. And I just, it's sad because this is not where we should be as a country.
Corpus taken away.
Yeah. She didn't even know how to define habeas corpus. Yeah, because she's a dummy. Anyway, we need him on Mothma. Absolutely. We need a Marvel is what we need. Or Maeve, so all right. Anyway, so there you go. We wanted to touch on that a little bit, and we'll see what happens with these lawsuits if he actually goes through with it. All right, let's get to these questions because we got to wrap up here in the next 20 minutes here. Jorge Iniestra. Thank you, Jorge. He says, what a busy weekend and start of this week with the rap songs from Joey versus the West, the tension of Clark's fans versus WNBA, and Last of Us / Final Destination dropping. I'm very entertained / tired. Jorge, why do you put fans in quotation marks? Like, why do you do that? I don't understand.
I don't know. He's right because what he's implying. Yeah, he's not implying the actual fans of Caitlin Clark. He's talking about the shit stirs. I understood. I understood what he was kind of getting at.
Got it. Okay. Got
At
it.
least that's my interpretation. Yeah. Jorge, if I'm wrong, correct me and say that's not what I meant. I meant that all people that are Caitlin Clark fans are fans. If that's what you meant, fine. But it seemed to imply those that claim to be her fans, but they're really shit stirs. That's what that felt.
Yeah, like. That's fair. And that's fair. And I think there are a few of those that do that and take the opportunity to stir the pot a little bit. I'm more just trying to find that middle ground between this in the situation, which is not easy to do. I hear you on Last of Us. Yeah, the finale is this weekend, and Final Destination
already at the finale. Was it just a short season?
Yeah, it was only 7 episodes this season, and then season 3 might be 9 or 10, is what they're saying. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. And Last of Us wrapping up within a couple of weeks of each other. It's kind of mind blowing when you look at the situation.
Final Destination. I had a good time. That shit was stupid, and it was fun.
That was fun. Yes. I mean, I'm glad it's doing well at the box office. My review will probably be up tomorrow on it, my spoiler review on it. But I thought that was a blast of a film, but not the greatest installment, but certainly a good way to come back. And so we'll see where we go with that one. But yeah, I hear you. Entertained and tired. And don't forget, this weekend is Lilo Stitch, which I saw last night and really enjoyed, and Mission Impossible. So it's going to be a heck of a weekend for sure.
Great. I mean, we're fully in the blockbuster season, man.
Yeah, we are. I have to watch it all with one eye for the next week. J&B says, I, for one, welcome my one-eyed Willy Rocha over.
Nicolas Furioso.
I like this trailer. Let's see. My love for Rocha and Winston is eternal and forever.
Thank you, J&B.
You're the best. Jorge back again. Better rap name, Winston. OJ the Juice Man or RG3 the Milkman? Oof.
That's funny. That's funny. I mean, my rap name used to be Winston the Ghostbuster because I was a part of a group called the Holy Trinity. I had one homie was named the Guy Up High. The other one was named he was a Jewish rapper. I want to say we called him like the Savior or something like that. And then I was Winston the Ghostbuster to represent the Holy Spirit. So like we weren't rapping anything religious. We just thought it was a dope. We were in college. We were high a lot. It just wasn't. It wasn't.
That's what you're supposed to experiment, for God's sake. So yeah. Daniel San says, John, it's straight up hate because Angel knows she will never be as good as CC on the court. CC lives rent free in Angel's mind.
But see, here's the only thing that I would make that argument that's
you can't compare the two different players.
You can't because I was going to say the flip side of it on top of that. Yeah. Angel has done everything and more as far like I know Caitlin's gotten very good endorsements, obviously, but when you look at the fact that Angel is literally everywhere with those endorsements, with the commercials, with all the stuff that's going on, Angel ain't worried about that shit. The only thing is on the court stuff, but I get it. You see someone getting preferential treatment and not even necessarily. Never mind. We don't need to go back down there. We did this for a long time. We did this for a long time. We do not need to do this again.
Well, I mean, it could be complicated. Again, it could be an element of that. I don't know if she hates Caitlin. She's made it clear that she doesn't, and that she sees her as a competitor. They've been competing since they were like, young adults, like in their teens, early teens. So they've seen each other for a while. I don't think they're hanging out and going to the movies together or having dinner together. I think there is animosity between them to a degree. I don't know if hate is the right word for it, but I do think there is animosity, certainly from Angel's side that we've seen on screen, right? We haven't really seen any Caitlin animosity towards Angel So that's where you have to kind of figure out, is she quietly saying stuff to her friends behind the scenes? What's the deal there? And also, but maybe she's got that little animosity because that hard foul might have been a little bit of her being a little sick of Angel, because Angel had pushed her teammates so hard before that moment, and maybe Caitlyn was just sick of it and did what she did, So it's that kind of a situation. I do think that if there wasn't this drama between them, I think Caitlyn would have fouled Angel harder by now already. But there is the drama there, and so you see that that's an issue that maybe that pops up when it can.
Kingsport Cal, y'all did this for 40 minutes already.
Thank you, Cal. Well, Calvin, you do your own goddamn show, man. Chris Corcoran said, went to see if the Angel TikTok was real and didn't see it. She might have deleted it, but I wouldn't be shocked if this was a Twitter fake. No. Otherwise, it would have had more attention. No, it did have attention. I can bring it up here real quick, but it was her liking this thing that was put up on TikTok. And so, but yeah, I should have put it up when we were talking about it. So, yeah, here it is. So this is it. Yeah, there. Angel Reese reposted a TikTok video featuring what appears to be a racial slur directed at Caitlyn Clark and claiming Reese was going to attack her. White gal running from the fade. That's what the thing that she reposted was. And I think they have it on, here, it's on her TikTok right here. So, you see that happening there. So, it is what it is. I just think people need to take responsibility for it and take a look at it again, Chris. I think you might see it. Cowboy Fan 92 says, hey, John and Marshall. Winston A. Marshall. Got it. And chat. Well, look, I really could care less about the recent rivalry with Clark. I watched the dumb NBA because of the game itself. By the way, Paige is killing it in Dallas this year. Yes, her second game, much better than her first game. I think Dallas is going to struggle a little bit, but yeah, it was great to see Paige balling out. Have you gotten to see any of the games yet, Winston?
I have not got to watch Paige yet, but yes, as I mentioned, I'm a Spark season ticket holder, so we already went to the home opener against the Lynx, which we were holding on there for a while, but just couldn't do it. And God damn it, we've lost Burrell for 6 to 8 weeks. That's awful. That's a large chunk of the season, man. She was going to be a huge force for us on the offensive side of the ball. But I mean, look, Kelsey Plum is balling, bro. Kelsey Plum is balling. It apparently, like, I have an inside source on that one that was like, oh no, she loved her time with the Aces, but she was ready to like be the star of the show and like loves LA as like a city and all that. So it was a match made in heaven. And if she plays well enough, then she's probably gonna get a great deal, a huge deal at the end of the year. And I would love that, man. Let this woman cook, man. And then I can't wait till Cam's back.
Kelsey from around here in San Diego. She lives her family is like 10 minutes away in Poway. So it's kind of crazy that I had no idea she was from there until last year watching the game. So yeah, it was great to see her killing it in that first game for the Sparks. So she's a great pickup for you all. That's gonna be a lot of fun to see her there. Cowboys fan. Also, oh my God, I just watched the Andor finale. I loved it, but I felt like we could have used one more scene before cutting to black between Bricks and Andor. Well, he's dead. What other scene? Hey, have you seen Rogue One? He's dead. What do you want from me here? So
okay. I didn't know where it ended though. So that's
right on.
Because I haven't seen any of it. I watched like the first 3 episodes of the first season of Andor, and then the train started for the second season. I haven't seen it yet, so I just thought you were ruining it for me.
Right on. I just saw your message. I think that person's gone now. So sorry. I didn't see it.
You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, Kingsport. How long till Winston's project comes out? Yeah, Winston.
We're talking about my rap project. It's never coming out. That shit got canceled in college. Is that what you mean? Because if that's what you mean,
the resurrection.
Or do you mean the film that I just shot? If that's what you're asking, I don't know. They're still shooting. I'm wrapped. They still have about 2-ish more weeks, and then I'm not entirely sure the speed at which they're going to be editing this thing. But as I am allowed to say more, as stuff comes out, I will obviously let y'all know what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There you go. Perfect stuff. All right. Anything more?
Everybody's like, no, the film, bro, not your shitty rap album.
All right, we had Fredtastic who came in with us, Streamlabs. Thank you, Fred. He said, tequila's on fire today. Thank you guys for bringing your honesty and perspectives to these issues. We keep getting Jurassic World movies because like that restaurant that we love because they were great. We'll keep visiting even though the food is just decent now. I mean, maybe not wrong, Winston. Maybe not wrong.
Wait, what food is just decent?
That he's saying that we keep getting Jurassic World movies because they're like a restaurant that you used to go to all the time and initially loved, but now the food is just decent, but you still
You're hoping that the chef that died will come back. Not that Steven died, but he's not directing these no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Jeff Andor. So let's wrap up with this because we have about 5 minutes left. What are your predictions for the playoffs, man? We've got 4 good teams left in this thing. Minnesota taking on the Thunder, the Knicks taking on the Pacers. The Eastern Conference Finals is a big surprise, at least for me. And a little bit the Western. I didn't think Minnesota had enough to get there, and they did. So
they got there.
What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen?
They got there last year. So I know you lost Cat, but like you lost Gobert. You lost Cat.
Yeah, Cat. Yeah, Cat went to the Knicks. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Thunder will handle the Timberwolves. I do. I think that they'll win. I'll give them 2 games, but I think this ends with game 6.
Wow.
I think that it'll be a 4-2 win over there. And then the Knicks and the Pacers. I'm gonna go. I got the Knicks. Knicks. I'm going to say the Knicks in 7. I think they're going to have to go the distance to pull this off, but I think that they will pull it off. And then to win it all, I'm just going to be a hopeful, man. I'm pulling for New York.
Wow.
I got to pull for New York. They've been strong. They haven't had a championship since the 70s. Phil Jackson was a member of the team back then. It was his first of many rings.
1973.
Like you have this whole situation on top of that like, I'll be honest, it only happened for a split second, but I instantly stopped giving a shit about the Pacers the minute that Tyrese Halliburton's daddy got in Giannis's face like that for no reason. I was like, I am of the mindset that I want people that act like an ass. They show their ass. I just want them to suffer a little bit. I don't need them to be permanently scarred. I don't need people to be hurt or anything like that, but I want you to feel some sort of karmic justice for showing your ass over your son like that. Yeah, I would love to see the Knicks do that. They've been a fun team to watch and all that kind of stuff. Listen, and I also kind of feel that way with OKC. You just out here in the streets, Anthony Edwards, with all these women that you say you hate, just having these babies, paying shit off like that, just being a deadbeat ass daddy. I mean, come on, man, wrap your shit up. Like he admitted he don't wrap it up, and you still gonna do this. So I kind of need you to be humble just a little bit.
Hey, man. I feel you, Anthony. I feel
you. Does the lady outlaw know?
Well, no, I just mean that I didn't like wrapping it up either.
I don't think any of us like to. You just have to. Like, and if you don't want to, then lock it down. Either snip your own shit or marry somebody and then be like, hey, baby, it's just you and me. Like, what are you doing?
I think the Knicks in 7 sounds right. I think they have just a little bit more talent than the Pacers do, but I think it's going to be a great 7 games. I hope it's a 7-game series, man. I remember watching Reggie versus the Knicks, and that was an awesome series. So to bring this back again would be so much fun. I don't know if this is the year that Edwards, if he makes the jump, if Ant-Man finally makes the jump, if Ant-Man makes the jump and carries this team to the finals and then carries this team past the Knicks or the Pacers, then you got to say this guy is a transcendent superstar. He is the star of the league. And I think that's an important thing to look at, especially because Jason's going to be out for another year now with the Achilles tear, which is so heartbreaking. So there's a slot open.
I wouldn't call him the star of the league. I would say he is at the forefront of the Mount Rushmore of them, because I still think, even though it was an unceremonious exit, I mean, the Nuggets were very hurt. Joker is probably going to win MVP, if not secondly. Sure. And then Luka. Like, there's a reason why the sports world melted down, and Anthony Davis is late to this party. Luka already did this twice. Went to the Western Conference Finals by himself and lost to the Warriors, but still stole a game, and then willed them to the finals and all that kind of stuff too. So I think that he firmly becomes supplanted if he makes it. He firmly becomes planted that the 4 top players in the league are Luka, Joker, Ant-Man, and then who would probably, it would have been Tatum until he got hurt. I would argue, just because he has a ring. I think that's the thing. You either need to at least have been to the finals or have a ring to be in that conversation right now. And I think Shea is playing out of his mind. If Shea gets to the finals, then I think Ant takes a step back, and then Shea takes that 4 spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Shea. Yeah, that's right. Shea could take the 4 spot. That's a great point. If he can take them all the way and win the damn thing, that would be incredible. So, because a lot of people are writing off OKC as like plastic contenders, and now you see what they were able to do. So it's,
and on top of that, if let's say either Shea or Ant makes it, but then Jalen Brunson washes you,
I know,
then Jalen is the number 4, because then he's a champion on top of he beat either of these quote unquote best in the league. Like,
I got to go delete my Brunson tweet because like someone was talking about Brunson as one of the greatest Knicks ever. I'm like, what? Jalen? No one's thinking Jalen's one of the top 10 Knicks ever. And now I'm like, well, if he gets them in the finals and gets them and wins it, then I shut my mouth. He's in the top 10 because that's amazing to do. 50 years later. So yeah,
I want to see, dude. He averaged 26, 2.9, 7.3 off of almost 50% from the field. Dude, Jalen was cooking this year. My gosh,
against a championship team in the Celtics. They only lost Tatum in the last 2 games, and really a game and the quarter, because he was playing all the way through that 4th quarter until he got that injury. So yeah, dude, you got to give it up to the Knicks, man.
Looking at this too, let me see, because they're showing all the recent games with him. His worst score against Boston was 17, but otherwise it was 17, 22, 23, 27, 29, 39. Like he was balling out of control.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, there you go. That's our thoughts on everything that we covered here today. Thank you all so much for joining us. We do a 90-minute show to have some fun with you all. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Leave your thoughts on all the comments that we made today and all the issues that we cover. I want to hear from all you, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, but also the Penguin season 2, Matt Reeves, that whole situation. What's going on there? Your thoughts on the trailers and your thoughts on the playoffs, as we talked about. And Chris Corcoran said, if Trump weighs in into the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese stuff, God help us. Oh yeah, please,
dude,
stay,
please,
God,
for the love of God, let him not pay attention to that. But he won't, though, because he doesn't actually care about women's sports.
No, he doesn't. Of course he doesn't. So he won't. Yeah, it's a good point. He'll leave it alone. Thank God. But Winston, another fun show, brother. Good to see you again. It's been a few weeks, so please let people know where they can find you, what you got going on, brother, man.
Absolutely. When this is done, I need just a little bit of time so I can export them, but you can go and check out my trailer reactions to the 4 trailers we spoke on previously here. You can get my full thoughts in the moment. Tomorrow, Blurred Breakdown, don't miss it. I will be covering some nerd stories, but the main focus will be on Diddy or Didn't He. It'll be covering the trial up to this point. I'm essentially going to spend this evening after hanging with my lady to really get fully caught up on everything, and we'll discuss. I am putting something up on the page every single day this week just to try and get that consistency back going again. So definitely youtube.com/theswaggyblurred. And I'm also streaming on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/theswaggyblurred. And then last but not least, Capes and Cows on Friday.
There you go. Capes and Cows on Friday. And thank you, Fredtastic. Appreciate that. A little more support. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. And of course, please subscribe down below and hit that bell button. I would appreciate it as we're marching towards 50,000 subscribers. Help us get there as quickly as possible. And don't forget Geek Buddies, Hot Mic, no, there's no Jedi Way this week, but definitely there'll be Hot Mic and Geek Buddies coming up later on this week, if I can do it with my eye situation. So send me some love tomorrow for this eye surgery. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new. Thank you, brother. With another brand new episode here of Spill the Tequila. Peace. Until then.